Hello, Geneva. Welcome back to the Sports Shield podcast. Today is Friday, March 2nd, 2022, which means March Madness is right around the corner.
Yep. Final rankings are about to come in. The final games are about to be played. All of them are going to be playing the conference tournaments soon. So, quick rundown. This past week, Baylor moved up 7 spots, beating number 5 Kentucky, sending them down in the rankings. Um, Another thing that happened was 6 of the top 7 teams lost this week. Gonzaga lost to Colorado. Gonzaga lost to St. Mary's. Arizona lost to Colorado. Uh, Kentucky lost to Arkansas. Auburn lost big time. And Purdue also lost this week to Michigan State. So we had a major shakeup in the rankings. Um, Purdue is now number 8 when they were ranked number 4 last week, and they just lost again last night to number 10 Wisconsin. So we could be seeing more rankings change before March Madness.
Okay, now into the MLB. The lockout is still continuing. The players and the team owners and commissioner cannot make a decision on anything. A big turning point for this is the MLB Players Association is trying to get minor leaguers to be paid more money, which I think is very important because the minor leaguers, they are trying to make it to the big leagues. But when you're making barely a living wage, not even, you're have to working a second time job, not being able to focus on your game, which I think is very sad that has to happen. But I think this new contract that the MLBPA should sign and MLB should sign should really help with that. Trade time for NFL trade talks. First one up is Russell Wilson. What do you think's going to happen to him, Chris?
I think Russell Wilson will be staying in Seattle. It's a pretty good situation. You got a Hall of Fame level coach. I know the roster's not great, but you'll be getting first round picks back this year that you didn't have the last couple of years. So you'll be able to improve that roster. And I think this past season they weren't that good just because they didn't have Russell Wilson. So I think they'll be playing a lot better.
I think they're going to be listening to trade talks for Wilson. I think they're not going to really trade him, but if they get an outstanding offer, we're talking 3 first round picks or even more than that. I think it's an instant trade for Wilson because he's aging, and I think it's about to be. If they got an outstanding offer for Wilson, I would think the Seahawks would take it in a heartbeat.
Yep. Next up is Rodgers. What do you think will happen to Rodgers?
I'm a Bears fan, so I really want him to get traded to the Broncos because that's where I think he would fit the best. But I think they're probably going to try and keep him on for one last hurrah and put all their eggs into one season, to say the least.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most interesting ones. As a Raiders fan, I do not want to see him traded to the Broncos, but
Yes.
um, he is such a huge cap hit, and the Packers are so far over the cap right now. It's going to be interesting to see if they are going to keep Rodgers, how they do it, because not only are they over the cap right now, they have free agents that they need to sign back, key ones in Devontae Adams and Zadarius Smith, 2 huge contributors last season. So it'll be interesting. I think he gets traded, but I think he gets traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, that's another great fit for him the Steelers will be going from one Hall of Fame quarterback to another, but I still think he's going to the Broncos just because I feel like that's who has the best firepower and the best fit for him. Next guy up is Kyler Murray. He's shown he's been upset about his contract for the past or earlier this week, and I think he's gonna stay. I think the Cardinals are not gonna let him go, especially with Cliff still as their head coach.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. This is one of these stranger ones to be rumored, especially since Kyler Murray is not even done with his first deal. I know he wants to get paid. He isn't good enough to be paid Lamar Jackson money, but he is still a franchise quarterback who is younger than 25. So, is my opinion that you don't move off of a franchise quarterback that has at least a decade left to play on his career.
Exactly. Next guy up is Wentz. I think this is a tough one because I don't think he'll get traded. I think they won't find a suitable trade partner for him, and they would either end up keeping him on their roster or just cutting him entirely.
Yeah, I think it's more likely he gets cut than anything, largely in part due to his contract. His contract is it's insane. He is being paid $40 million a year. Last year he didn't play that bad at the beginning, um, but he trailed off at the end, and he was part of the reason why they didn't make the playoffs, losing 3 of the last 4 games. So if he is going to get traded, the compensation that the Colts will be getting back will not be that great. So,
Especially only giving up a first-round pick for him less
yes.
than a year ago.
Yep.
Next is Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he's obviously going to get traded. I wonder where, because he's currently going under surgery for his shoulder. A lot like what happened to Drew Brees, which definitely tanked his value back in, I think it was 2006. But I think we're going to definitely see him get traded. I have him going to the Commanders. I think it's going to be the best fit for him, especially what they can get for him.
Jimmy G is an interesting one. I think he is good enough to start on a mid-tier team that has good weapons that can help carry him, like this 49ers. The 49ers had a great roster, and he helped them get to the place, but at the end of the day, he held them back from getting to the Super Bowl. So depending on where he goes, it has to be a team with suitable weapons for him. And I know I just said Rodgers would be a great fit for the Steelers, but so would Jimmy G. They got Najee Harris out the backfield. They got Claypool. They got Deontay Johnson, and they can re-sign Juju Smith-Schuster. And then they got a huge tight end in Pat Freiermuth, who had a great rookie year. They do have offensive line issues, and he's not a very mobile quarterback. But this should be a decent fit, especially with a good coach in Mike Tomlin.
And a big part of Garoppolo getting traded is the fact that Trey Lance has been sitting behind him for a year. Now, there has been some rumors flying around that people don't think Trey Lance is ready yet. Even in his second season, would possibly have to wait into his third season to become a full-time starter. But yeah, I think that's all the news we have for you today. Be sure to tune to next week's Sports Shield podcast. See you guys later, Geneva.